Turn 1 Soul Ring.
So have you added any Modern Horizons or M20 cards to your decks?
Not yet.
Do you have a list?
Well, I do want to play like Mardu Pyromancer again. So I want Seasoned Pyromancers and also Yawgmoth, but I mean it's money, so.
Yeah, those are getting expensive. Season Pyromancer is quite pricey.
Yeah. I should have picked them up when they were like 20. I think they were
Did
like
they come out
20
of the
20.
gate at 20?
They were 20 or 25. I can't remember.
Wow, it's a rare?
Yeah, Mythic.
Oh, Mythic.
It's a Mythic.
Yeah, that's not good. I've never been a fan of the Mythics. I think they just should have kept it at rare.
I think they should get that card at rare. Like, it's good.
No, I think they should have kept all.
Oh.
I don't think Mythic should be a designation. I think they should all be rares.
Sure.
I think it should just be 3 designations.
Yeah, but you got to have that extra rarity.
Do you, though?
Every
they track print anyway. What difference does it make? You know it's more rare. You know that certain rares are more rare. You know that certain mythics are more rare because they track print them. Also, they're garbage, so they track print the garbage ones. They've been track printing since the game's inception.
Yeah, and I guess it's like another just designation.
Yeah, but if you have a set that like all the values in the mythics, then it really doesn't make sense to buy boxes of that set because you're only going to get...
What is it, between 2 and 5 or something?
Something like that. And if they're all bad ones or if you get duplication, then...
You're just pooched.
Essentially.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not and have never been a fan of the mythic designation.
That's fair.
Yeah, if they didn't track print and it was everything being equal, then it would be different, but they do, so... even mythics have different rarities. But enough about that sad topic. We're going to get to the show. I want to welcome everybody to the show. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Eric. And we do a show.
We do a show, and this is that show. The show is Turn 1 Soul Ring, and today on that show, we'll be talking about the best budget cards in Commander. You know, in our
some
opinion,
of the best,
you know, some of the best.
Yeah.
You know, what is budget? What is budget? we're also
Accounting 101 with Eric and Kevin.
We're also gonna be going to talk about a budget meta that we found ourselves ensconced in.
Oh yeah.
That was probably more than a year ago now. It's probably like a couple years ago.
It was interesting.
It was interesting. And we're also going to be doing a giveaway related to this episode's topic. So stay tuned till the end of this episode to find out about it. Or, I don't know, maybe go on Instagram right now and find out.
Sure.
I can't tell.
Yeah.
But before we get to the budget cards that you're all patiently waiting to hear about, we're going to talk a little bit about Modern Horizons and the prices of some of the cards and which cards we are thinking of putting in some decks and which cards we've already put in some decks and seen how they do in play.
Yeah. With Modern Horizons being obviously pretty nice and fresh still. And there were a lot of people out there saying that like there aren't many good cards for Modern, and as time has gone by, like some of these cards have actually gone up in value, and we're seeing a lot more of them in play, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
I think the set's really great for the format. And so one of the cards that we talked about on our release, which is at the top of the value train at the moment, I'm just using TCG Player.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got Ren and 6 up there at $70 US. That 2-mana Planeswalker.
Yeah, a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I bought. I bought one at about 34 Canadian.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
that's actually really good because I think it's 100 Canadian now. So
yeah.
It's like
yeah. I wish I'd bought 2.
I wish I bought some.
Yeah, but you never know.
You do never know. I was pretty like I liked that card a lot, and I thought I was gonna do some things, and I was like, nah, I don't need to buy one though.
Yeah, I just bought one for my Lord Windgrace deck, and I haven't played that deck since I put it in there, but it's just it's just perfect.
Such a good
in
card
that deck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good in a lot of decks, I'm sure.
And then second up was the one who was in first place is Urza, Lord High Artificer.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's got a modern deck now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I was reading about that.
Yeah, there's a couple of them out there, and like, but he can actually like he's seen playing modern because it's just a solid good Magic card.
Yeah.
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 So he's up to 3650 right now.
Wow.
US. I think he started a little bit lower than that too, but
Yeah, he did. I picked one up around 30 US through that
Okay.
Memnarch, just as like a alternate win condition.
yeah, nice.
Because once you have infinite mana and Urza, you can just play your whole deck. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Paradox Engine's banned.
Well, you know what? Surprisingly, I did not have a Paradox Engine in that deck.
No.
Because it's not like casting cards.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just like get infinite mana and play Memnarch.
Sure. Couple more interesting ones. We do have. I really should have picked up Seasoned Pyromancers when they first came out because that card's just been going up. Good value.
Yeah.
That's
a great
2680
card.
now, Canadian or US. But yeah, Mardu Pyromancer's getting a little bit of a comeback because you got 8 Pyromancers in there now. So just looting through your deck and getting more elementals is always good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just swarm the board.
One that like really shot up was the Hex Drinker, that 1 mana green creature that gets protection from everything.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Protection is very powerful, and when you have protection from everything, it's just nuts. Like, you know, like Emrakul, the Promised End, right? That was protection from instants, and that was too powerful for standard.
Yeah.
So it's really
Now
good.
they're like, here you go, protection. Like, it's hard to get there, obviously. But it's still one of those creatures, like, if you don't have removal for it, they're going to get there, and you can't do anything
And
after.
after the second level, it has protection from something.
Yeah, 1 second here. So levels 3 to 7. So it's 1 mana for a 2/1. And if you pay a total of 4 mana, leveling up to level 3, it has protection from instants.
Okay. Yeah. Emrakul.
Yeah, so if on turn 4 you're playing it, you can just get protection from instants, and then usually it can't be removed at that point. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and after it has protection from everything,
It's just wraths that kill it.
just wraths, edict effects.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Pretty strong card.
mass
And it's
bounce.
a 6/6 when you get it maxed up.
Yeah. A 6/6 unblockable.
Yeah, pretty much. You're gonna win. And then the lands have seen some interesting play. I'm surprised that they weren't higher right away.
Me too.
Like, they were kind of at a high point when the set first launched, and they just dipped instantly.
Yeah. Even
Yeah.
now, they're really not as pricey as I thought they would be.
Right?
I thought they would be closer to Horizon Canopy price. Maybe not that much. But
Maybe like the $30
30s.
mark-ish.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
thought they'd all be in the 30s, maybe 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really surprised.
So I think maybe now is like I feel those lands have to still go up.
Yeah.
Possibly.
They're just with how much value Horizon Canopy's had over the years. I really don't. At least some of them.
Yeah.
Because it's just so much value in game that, you know, like 1 life here or there is not a big deal, and when you don't want to pay it, can they still tap for colorless mana, or do you have to pay the life for color?
You have to pay the life for color.
So
you
you
can't
always have to
tap
pay
for-
life for mana.
Yeah, you always do.
But still, like, especially the what is it, Baked Canyon,
Sunbaked Canyon.
Sunbaked. You know, that's just. I thought that one would be the priciest because in like
Burn.
Boros Burn,
Yeah.
that's amazing, right? Like, you don't care about lands at that point. You just want to draw more cards and deal more damage.
Yeah, and I mean that is the second most pricey right now. Usually it's the Fiery Islet. So
Yeah.
it's always at the top there.
Is it?
Yeah.
I can't help
Ha.
myself. Yeah, I can't help myself.
Have there been any like cards you're interested in for like putting in a modern deck or like playing a different deck or something?
I haven't. I pretty much just play Mono Green Tron in Modern, and the only new cards I've put into that deck are I've been trying out an Ugin the Ineffable because
Cool.
I do run an Emrakul, the Aeon's Torn. Not the Aeon's Torn, the Promised End.
Yeah.
And, you know, it just helps with that and helps with all the other colorless spells that you're casting. So that's been fun. But hasn't been anything from Modern Horizons that has really...
Yeah, Tron didn't really get like pieces.
I thought maybe Hex Drinker, but I really didn't pick any up and try it out.
That's not a bad fit though, because with the Tron lands, you can just like level it up right away.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not at all. And there's a few cards that I put into some commander decks, and I picked up,
you said you picked up an Urza.
Yeah, I picked up an Urza. I picked up some snow covered lands. I haven't picked up a sliver yet for my sliver deck, the first sliver, and but I did put in that Cloud Thresher sliver. That was a good one. That the Boros one that gives them flying and haste. So I'm not. I was thinking about taking out the slivers that the 2 slivers that do flying and haste and like make 2 spots. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens with that.
Get the first sliver in there.
Yeah, exactly.
That card's just fun. So
yeah, it's just a fun card, and there's so many cards that there are like enough 4 and 5 cost slivers that you can still hit other spells. To cast. So yeah, it's just a fun card.
For sure.
And maybe you can dig your way to the combo. You never know.
Yeah. Being playing like Death Shadow, I am kind of interested in switching it from Grixis to Esper.
Really?
To get in the Ranger Captain of Eos.
Oh yeah. What's the price point on that right now?
He's actually up to 17.
Okay, and he's a mythic too, right?
Yes, actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just because like it tutors out your big threat in the deck, so. And then,
right,
I think that's secondary. Yeah, because like he tutors for a 1-drop creature,
and so you can get
Death Shadow. Yeah. And then obviously you just still keep failing those fetch lines and stuff, so you're gonna be at whatever health. So you have like 8 copies of Death Shadow in the deck instead of just 4.
Right. So would you run any of the Canopy lands?
I think I would at that point too, because I think like
more life.
Yeah, that's they just kind of go hand in hand with Death Shadow. I think.
Yeah. So you could run like the Orzhov one and the what else? Because they did enemy colors.
Yeah.
So Orzhov and that's it. They didn't.
It's just Orzhov.
Yeah, because the other 2 are allied colors.
Yeah.
Azorius and Dimir.
Yep.
I kept thinking Esper, but that's the
you got it. Yeah. And then he always has a second ability where you sack the Ranger of Eos. Your opponents can't cast non-creature spells this turn, so
that's really powerful, and
gets you a turn to like set up
in a format where that's what we're casting a lot of. Like, those are the real splashy things that we do in the format, and it's like planeswalkers and everything blue-white control does.
Oh yeah, man. Liking the set so far. Got a lot of cool stuff. I was also thinking of like picking up I think the swords are still pretty decent just to have in Commander.
Yeah, definitely great cards to add to your collection. You never know when you're going to need them. And like they're mythics, and who knows when they're going to get reprinted. They're probably going to finish the cycle before they reprint any of them.
Probably.
So it's not a bad idea to pick them up, and they're not just overly pricey right now because they're not really seeing a lot of play. And I don't think they were going to see modern play. Like the swords now don't see modern play.
Exactly.
The better swords. So why would these
ones even see it? Yeah.
So I'm really not surprised by that. I think a lot of these, what's great about these supplemental sets is they can print a lot of cards for Commander, which is quickly becoming their bread and butter, which is really good, I think.
Yeah, it is really good. It's just like an easy format for people to play, right? So, and it's also like good for card shops because then like you're buying a lot of singles, from them in general too. So,
yeah, as long as you didn't just buy a Paradox Engine,
except for that,
because then you probably just sold your whole collection and were like, I'm never gonna buy Magic cards again.
You're like, screw this game.
Or your Iona, you built an Iona deck because she's legendary, right?
Yeah, you can have her as your commander.
Yeah. You can imagine having that in the command zone. Everyone's just like, you're the worst. They're like, no, it's Angel Tribal.
Yeah. Come on.
Oh, man. All right. Well, let's get to the main topic of the show today. It's budget cards and budget metas. So I think, there's a lot of ways that you could determine what budget means. And I think for both of us, we don't normally build with a particular budget in mind.
Yeah.
And, we're not putting, original dual lands into our decks, but, a $30 to $50 card here and there isn't out of the question.
Yeah.
It's really, I think when we're building decks, the most important thing is we like to build focus decks that are synergistic. And if we choose a commander, we like to make the deck as powerful as we can make it. Like, I think we generally build like 7s and 8s, on the power level scale. So
I definitely have some.
Oh yeah, I have some like jankier decks, but I think
still like, yeah,
I think they're still focused. And that's the thing about budget. It doesn't mean that you're building a bad deck. It just means that, what I like to think of budget is you're using cards with higher mana costs, but with lower monetary costs.
Sure. Yeah.
You look at a card like Karn's Temporal Sundering, which is, I don't know, it's probably like that's definitely a bulk rare. And that's 6 or 7 mana.
6 mana.
And then you look at a card like Time Warp or Temporal Mastery, those are $20 cards.
Yeah.
They both do the same thing, but Time Warp and Temporal Mastery don't exile themselves. So you can recur them, and they cost 1 less mana. So
they don't need a legendary permanent note for you to cast them.
Exactly. Or, Beacon of Tomorrows, which you get to shuffle back into your deck. It's just like a lot of the extra turn spells of late have been, except for Nexus of Fate, have been you have to exile it after you cast it. So, budget cards tend to cost more mana, but less money, a lot less money. But, so like we can talk about like what makes a card budget or what makes a deck budget. And, I don't have a ton of experience with this per se. But, the play group that Eric and I actually met in was, I was, introduced to all of you through, a mutual friend of ours.
Yeah.
And at the time, they were just starting to allow proxies, or counterfeit cards, as I like to call them, into the meta. And, neither of us are really huge fans of... I'm fine with proxies, but I think when you start playing with it in your deck, and it's like you're serious about the card and it works into your deck, then it's time to get the real card.
Sure.
And otherwise it's a fake card, it's a counterfeit card. And, it's certainly not tournament legal, and I don't think you should be taking it to like your local game store, because if it's a WPN store, like, that's not good for them. Wizards of the Coast doesn't like that. And, you're also kind of communicating to the store that you'll use their facilities, but you won't support them in a roundabout way.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm not a fan of that kind of a thing, and I understand that cards are expensive, but that being said, like, I don't have the most expensive cards. I think the most.
But even something like that can kind of like put a soft cap on certain cards, because then as well, like when they start allowing proxies, like this is before Mana Drain got reprinted, and then like everyone had Mana Drain in their deck.
Force of Will,
and then Force of Will. If you're in green, you had Guy's Cradle automatically, like all these like super powerful cards that are expensive, and then like we can't really get our hands on because of it's a pretty pricey card. We usually wouldn't see it, but because of the proxies, now they were just like super rampant, and it really warped the meta.
It took something that was by the time that I got there, it was already like an arms race.
Yeah.
And it, just turned it into overdrive.
Yeah, it really amplified.
And, this isn't going to be a surprise to anybody, but it made it a very unfun format to play in, because you have people that are playing with super powerful cards, but they're not playing decks that want to win on turn 2 or 3.
Yeah, they're just like taking these powerful cards that they know of and just like jamming them in a deck.
And it's not really synergistic, and it's not really making for a stimulating gameplay, because I have no problem with really powerful cards. I've said this before on the show. I like playing CEDH, but that has to be the understanding going in, I think, for everyone to have the best time that they can have in that format. So when you start jamming all those powerful cards into your like Cedrus Zombie King deck,
Yeah.
that's not a tier 1 commander, and it's just, it made the meta kind of untenable.
Yeah, it did.
And so what ended up happening was, I think through, I think it might have been a Facebook comment that I started, or a conversation that I started about doing a potential budget league. And eventually what we came up with was, we would, excluding the price of the commander, we wouldn't play any cards in our decks that costed more than $5 USD. And I think we used Scryfall, and after a certain date, if the card,
we ended up using MTG stocks.
MTG stocks mid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if the card raised in price, or if a card dipped, as long as it was at below $5 USD after whatever date we instilled the league, then you could
play that card.
Yeah, you could play that card. And that was pretty good. I mean, people built new decks, but some of us were still building decks that were focused, efficient, synergistic, and could win quickly. And some of us were building decks that wanted to take their time and play a long game and have lots of interaction. And I think that making that change, and this is a tangent because this doesn't really have anything to do with a budget, but I think that making that change didn't deal with the central issue, which was that you had a group of people that some of them wanted to play different ways.
Sure.
And that's sort of why, and we'll talk about this more when the commander set comes out, but that's sort of why I wanted to start a commander league, and why, I chose you and our, a couple of other guys to play in it, because we all have a similar philosophy when it comes to playing. We all like to play sort of efficiently, quickly, and like you and Riley are very rules oriented. You guys know all the interactions, and for me that's very fun to play with, because it's a learning experience, because I don't always know all that stuff.
Yeah, like all the thing, like sometimes you get some crazy interactions with like cards on the stack and stuff, and you're like, when this resolves, what does this do to certain things around the board and stuff?
And Trevor and I are just like on our phones, but you guys just know how that works. And I like those interactions happening.
It can be fun sometimes.
It can be tons of fun.
Yeah.
But, I think at the end of the day, like, we just, I think the four of us, we love the game, obviously, but we also love like getting each other.
Oh yeah.
And we like to do it quick and efficiently. And that's just how that meta has evolved. Right. So that, I think that play group, I think that was the fundamental flaw in it, that you had a group of people that varying amounts of them wanted to play games
different ways and stuff.
And, you can institute a budget format, but that still doesn't deal with how people build decks differently.
Yeah.
Because it can still be budget. If people are better deck builders, there's still going to be a disparity in who wins and loses.
And then even with the budgets, like we saw most people change commanders too, because, budget, might as well make a new deck. Some people that just liked their one commander and they just built a budget version of it, and you still had the same like outcome of what was going on.
Yeah, and like I built like a Macias deck, which is a great budget deck, by the way. And you can just combo off super quickly. And if people don't deal with your graveyard, you just win.
Yeah.
And, you know, like the people that like to play long interactive games, they don't like that.
Very much.
They don't like that very much. So, you know, it doesn't deal with those kinds of things. But it was very fun to build decks with that kind of a restriction.
I did like that too, because I did know that, like, because of the power level, I could kind of be a little more dirtily with my decks.
And no one's playing Cyclonic Rift.
No Cyrifs.
So that was fun. But that's just one example of a budget form of Commander. And I think that that's probably on the higher end of the budget spectrum, because you can definitely build a deck for $25 to $50, and it really depends on how much you have or want to spend on a deck. There's actually a YouTube channel that I stumbled across probably a year and a half ago called the Commander's Quarters, and they are a fantastic resource for budget Commander decks. This guy builds decks, sometimes including the Commander, sometimes excluding the Commander, for $25 USD, and he uses TCG Player like damaged cards to compile the deck list. So, you know, if you're like me or Eric and you like to, you know, if you want to spend that extra 10 cents for that bulk rare and get the foil, you know, it's going to be a little more expensive than $25. But this guy builds focused, you know, budget Commander decks, and they're good decks.
Cool.
Yeah. So check out that guy. This is just a, you know, just a plug. I just like his channel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. The Commander's Quarters, like the coin quarters. Yeah. So yeah, let's move on and talk about our favorite budget cards in the format. And we're going to do this in Wooburg order.
Sure.
As always. That would actually be a good t-shirt. We're going to do this in Wooburg order.
I like that.
Because I don't think Wooburg is... I don't think this is trademarked or anything.
No.
I think we can... It's just like WUBRG.
Yeah. And of course someone doesn't know Magic. Like, what the hell is a Wooburg?
It's a conversation starter.
There you go.
Is what it is. Yeah. And each letter is the corresponding color.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I like that a lot. So the first card we're going to talk about today in white is Curse of Exhaustion. Curse of Exhaustion is 2 white and 2 colorless for an Aura Curse enchant player. Oh, that's when they were still writing enchant player.
Yeah.
Or no, that's what they always do. They used to write like enchant in the type field.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Enchanted player can't cast more than 1 spell each turn. I like this card a lot.
Me too. Because you can just see somebody who obviously this will hinder a lot, and so
They're winning.
yeah,
They're gonna win the game.
and so you just slap this on there, and it really like slows them down. So
Yeah, it's better than just upsetting everyone by playing like Rule of Law or something.
yeah, it's just that one guy, and like obviously he's gonna hate you, or they will hate you, but the rest of the people on the board are still gonna like you for helping them out too. So
Yeah,
it's a good card.
This is a good political card.
Yeah, so that's a really good budget card to pick up.
Okay, the next budget white card is Defensive Formation. It's 1 white for an enchantment. Instead of the attacking player, you choose how creatures attack.
Attacking you deals combat damage.
Yeah, that was hard to see. Yeah, this is just a great... Because, you know...
worded weirdly, too.
It is worded weirdly. It's from Urza Saga. It's an uncommon from Urza Saga.
Yeah.
So it is worded a little strangely, but, you know, if you have this out, this is sort of like an attacking deterrent, because people are just not going to want to attack you.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like a budget Sphere of Safety or Ghostly Prison.
Sure, yeah.
I like this card a lot. And for 1 white, you know, people
It's
just
cool.
aren't going to want to deal with you.
No,
They're going to read that card and they're going to be like, what is that? I just can't even. So there's going to be a few spell shapers on the list, and this first one is Magetta the Lion. It's 3 and 2 white for a spell shaper legend, so he can be your commander. He's a 3/3, and you can pay 2 and 2 white to tap him. Discard 2 cards from your hand, destroy all creatures except for Magetta the Lion. Those creatures can't be regenerated.
This is like a super budget Wrath.
It is, and like all spell shapers make you discard a card because you're taking that card and you're turning it into something else.
Okay.
So yeah, I think this is a real good card because you can just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Right? As long as you have cards to discard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this card a lot, and he's dirt cheap. Also, if you make him your commander, people are just gonna groan when they sit down to play with you.
It's a good mono white one.
This next one's good.
Did you skip Swords of Plowshares?
Oh, yes. Yeah, sorry about that. Yes, Swords to Plowshares. Great removal spell. It's 1 and a white for an instant.
Yep.
You exile target creature, and the
creature's controller
gains life equal to that creature's toughness, right? I think it's toughness.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's toughness.
And it's like in Commander, the amount of health they're going to gain, usually for whatever you're getting rid of, is great trade-off.
And in Commander, I would rather use a Swords to Plowshares than a Path to Exile.
Oh,
because the land is so much more valuable.
It is.
Than the life that they're gonna gain. Like I really couldn't care less about the life.
So if you're wondering about that, like seriously, just run the swords.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're saving money, and you're probably.
It's just a better card for that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not gonna matter.
Yeah. Path to Exile is only the price because of Modern, but it's like in Commander, go for that Swords to Plowshares.
Yeah, I think Swords though isn't as good in a format like Modern where you have less life.
Oh, it's not, because you're trying to kill your opponent as fast as possible, and then it's just like, let's take Tarmogoyf for example. If I remove that, I'm going to give them 5 health or a land. I think in more instances, like the 5 health is going to make a bigger difference than what the land actually does. So it's a really interesting kind of trade-off there.
Yeah,
for the formats.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and again, like in Modern, people don't run too many basics too, so because there has to be a basic land you get with the path. So sometimes you just path something, they don't have a land to grab.
Or a Field of Ruin.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll get you.
Next up, we got Mentor of the Meek. A little bit of card draw in white. 2 of anything and a white for a human soldier 2/2. Whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 1. If you do, draw a card.
Great for token strategies.
Great for token strategies. You're just going to go off the chain with drawing cards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even if you're cheating the creature into play, it's
just when it enters the battlefield.
Yeah. This is a great card.
Yeah.
White card draw. Woo. Who'd have thunk it? Right, the next white card is another Wrath. It's Martial Coup. It's X and 2 white for a sorcery. Create X 1/1 white soldier creature tokens. If X is 5 or more, destroy all other creatures. So this is great because usually with Wraths, you're the last person that gets to rebuild. But with cards like this, you're going to get a board state of a bunch. I mean, it's a bunch of 1/1s, but still. Like
it's a board state.
Yeah, right away.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really like this card.
You're usually casting this card when you have the X for 5 or more.
Yeah, definitely. Ooh, I like this next one. Divine Reckoning. It's 2 and 2 white for a sorcery. Each player chooses a creature he or she controls, destroy the rest, and it has flashback for 5 and 2 white. So I think this is a really underplayed Wrath. Like, this card is great in Voltron builds.
Oh yeah,
because obviously you're just going to choose your commander that has a bunch of equipment and auras attached to them, and you can always flash it back and do it again. I love flashback.
Yeah, having the flashback on there makes this card really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's dirt cheap.
Oh yeah.
Okay, the next one, just reprinted in Masters 25. I still like just reprinted. That was like over a year ago. Cloud Shift. It's 1 white for an instant. Exile target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under your control. So this is just great for when someone targets one of your creatures that you really need to stay on the battlefield, because you exile it and it comes back and it's a different permanent, so their spell fizzles.
Yeah, just really good protection.
Yeah, it should say like give protection from target color. But I guess if it was like an edict effect, no, you'd still have to sacrifice it.
You would.
Edict effects are so good.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I mean, this does give a little bit of extra value compared to just giving something protection because if it has an ETB effect.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yes. And white's got a lot of that.
Yeah. Hey, Crush Contraband. This is another newer card. So 3 of anything and 1 white for an instant. Choose one or both. Exile target artifact or exile target enchantment.
So
or do both.
Yeah, this is like Return to Dust. Is that the one that you can do both, but you have to do it during your main phase?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's an instant and you have to choose.
Yeah. But
And
Return to Dust lets you hit like 2 artifacts.
Right.
This has to be one of each.
But the mana cost is more restrictive.
Yeah, it's 2 white.
And when you and the time to cast it is more restrictive as well.
Yeah, when this one you can just always do instant to hit 2 targets. Mm-hmm. So this is a really good card.
Yeah, it is really good.
Yeah.
I like this card a lot.
Yeah, good budget.
I like when they print good cards. Okay, this next one, I never see this card played, and it's so good.
I never see it played.
Maybe because it might not be that good.
I mean, you can lock somebody's commander out, but
You should just play Iona. Oh, wait.
you can't anymore.
So, Nevermore is the card. It's 1 and 2 white for an enchantment. As Nevermore enters the battlefield, name a non-land card. The named card can't be played. So, just, yeah, like you were saying, like great anti-commander tech.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, that one person is gonna hate you.
Yeah, and you'll always know a card to name.
Because
you just look in their command zone.
Yeah, you want to be casting this on their commander.
Mm-hmm. Or if you know they have like a Force of Will or a proxy mana drain.
Sure.
You have to specifically say proxy mana drain or it doesn't count.
All right, so getting into a different color here.
We're getting into a different color.
Yeah.
Do you guys know what color it is?
What's next in Wooburg order?
It's U.
That's blue.
Yeah, but it's a U.
Sure. So the first one up here is Brainstorm. It's 1 blue for an instant. Draw 3 cards. Put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library in any order.
It should also say then use a fetch land to shuffle those cards away.
Sure. But yeah, that's why Brainstorm is so good, because if you can usually want to play Brainstorm, you have a way of shuffling your deck.
Yeah, like Scroll Rack or a fetch land.
Yeah, because then you're just digging 3 deep, and then you put back cards you don't need and just get rid of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love Brainstorm. Classic. The next blue card is Dreamscape Artist. It's 1 and a blue for a human spell shaper. Again, for a 1/1. 2 and a blue to tap, discard a card, sacrifice a land, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. So it is land ramp in mono blue. And those basic lands go onto the battlefield untapped. So you're getting value off of this thing right away.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like this card a lot.
So it's really only like 1 mana to tap and discard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just 1 blue mana.
You are sacrificing a card in your hand as well as a land that's already out there.
Yes, you are. So, but you're still not getting like 2 for 1 because you're sacking a land, you're discarding a card, but you're getting 2 lands.
Yeah.
So if you have a way to turn those lands into card draw or, card draw, then
yeah, it's a cool tech card though.
Yeah,
because sometimes you are just like pinched for lands, and like that extra mana can like get you to playing other things. So
especially if you're stuck in colors that can't ramp.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't land ramp.
Yeah,
you're never in colors that can't ramp because you always have artifacts.
There we go.
We're gonna get to those.
Next up, we have the Archaeomancer. 2 of anything and 2 blue for a 1/2 human wizard. When Archaeomancer enters the battlefield, return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand.
Snapcaster.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just more mana.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this card is so good. I obviously love that kind of effect. So,
especially in a singleton format.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, the next blue card is Reality Shift. It's 1 and a blue for an instant. Exile target creature. Its controller manifests the top card of his or her library. And manifesting is that player puts the top card of his or her library onto the battlefield face down as a 2/2 creature. If it's a creature card, it can be turned up face up anytime for its mana cost. So is that if you turned it face up, would you get the ETB, or it's already on the battlefield, so it's like a morph?
Yeah, it's like a morph, so you don't get an ETB effect.
Oh, it's not as good. That's not as good, but Reality Shift, having that exile target creature in blue for 2 mana is amazing.
Yeah,
I love this
good
card.
ability to have.
And I love the art on this card, especially in foil. Like, I love just orbs, so if you have orb art on a card, I will buy it in foil.
Just saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, just being able to, like, we can look at equate this to what Path to Exile or
Swords to Plowshares
does. Yeah,
for just 1 more mana.
So we're making one of their cards a 2/2, and there's usually a good chance, like, depending on their deck, obviously, but they might not even get a creature out of it. And it'll be like a 2/2, like really good spell that they wish they had, and they can't.
And it could just
anymore.
get wrathed, or
yeah.
That's usually what ends up happening. It gets wrathed, or they have to block with it.
Yep.
And then it's gone.
Yep.
Yeah, great card.
Next up, we have Insidious Will. 2 of anything, 2 blue for an instant. Choose 1. Counter target spell. You may choose new targets for target spell, or copy target instant or sorcery spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. I love this card.
It's great, right?
Yeah, like you get so many choices with it.
Yeah.
It's a great counter spell. And like if you're running cancel, the 1 extra mana to play Insidious Will, so worth it.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
And the ability to copy a spell, like there's so many powerful instants and sorcery spells running around the format that, yeah, it's just amazing.
Yeah, because it's like if somebody targets your stuff and you don't want them to, you can just change the targets for that. But if they're doing something and you want to get the benefit as well, you can just copy it and then everything happens.
Or if somebody targets themselves with an extra turn spell.
Yeah, you get an extra turn too.
Yeah.
Or instead. Instead's the good way to do that.
Go instead, for sure. All right, the next blue card is Aetherize. It's 3 and a blue for an instant. Return all attacking creatures to their owner's hands. So in blue, you're sort of limited when it comes to board wipes, and if you don't want to spend $30 on a Cyclonic Rift, then Aetherize is a really good card. If an opponent is bearing down on you with a ton of creatures, you cast this, and they probably won't have enough mana to rebuild on their second main phase. And
also, like, people usually don't see this card coming either.
No, it's a very underplayed card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
And the great thing is that, blue usually like Evacuation, it bounces all of your creatures too. Mm-hmm. With this, it's sort of a one-sided board wipe.
Yeah. All right. So also on the list is Washout, which is 3 of anything in a blue for a sorcery. Return all permanents of the color of your choice to their owner's hand. So actually, with Painter's Servant being unbanned, this is a lot better. Yeah. Because you could just, if you're having a really bad game, you just have like, I'll play Painter's Servant and Washout. Everything's gone, and his lands too. It's everything. Yeah. Permanents of the color of your choice. They didn't. I don't know if the rules committee thought about Washout. I think Washout might need to be banned. Yeah, because Upheaval's banned. Washout needs to be banned. All right. I'm taking it off the list. This is one of my favorites. It's Fade Away. It's 2 and a blue for a sorcery. For each creature, that creature's controller pays 1 or sacrifices a permanent. So this is a great blue board wipe because you can play this. This is like you play this when people have, like when you play Mana Geyser, when all their lands are tapped and they have no mana to use, and they just have to sacrifice all their creatures. Yeah. This card is so good. I found this card and just put it in all my blue decks because it's so good. And it's a common from Exodus. It's 25 cents. Yeah, it's an interesting card. I wonder how you resolve it. I guess each creature's own triggers on the stack. Because
Yeah,
you could
I
sack
don't know about
your.
that.
Because I wonder if you can sack your creatures to save your other creatures.
What do you mean?
So if this resolves, because you can either that creature's controller pays 1 or sacrifices a permanent. So if I have 3 creatures on the battlefield, I want to save this creature. I don't have mana, so I'm going to sacrifice this creature to pay for this creature.
But I think, well, you'd have to sacrifice a permanent.
Yeah, I've never.
Yeah,
I don't know how
interesting.
this card works.
Yeah, people usually just start. They just pay or they sacrifice creatures.
Yeah.
I've never. That's a very interesting. That's why I like playing with you, because you're always like, how does this interact? And I'm just like, doo doo doo.
All right, next up we have Pull from the Deep. 2 of anything, 2 blue for a sorcery. Return up to 1 target instant card and up to 1 target sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Exile Pull from the Deep.
That's the part that hurts.
Yeah.
Is that they make you exile it.
Yeah.
But otherwise,
Can't get this back.
yeah. But otherwise, it's great. 4 mana, you get back to splashy spells or a couple of counter spells or whatever.
Yeah. People may know you have that in hand, but I mean, still you're holding up counterspell magic, right? It's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like this card a lot.
Yeah, and it's also like I want to kind of compare it to Mystic Retrieval.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty much the same mana cost. Just Pull from the Deep is 2 blue instead of Mystic Retrieval being 1 blue. And so Mystic Retrieval lets you return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. And then this one has flashback. So it's a total of 7 mana to get what Pull from the Deep is doing for 4 mana.
Are they both? Is it a common?
Mystic Retrieval is also uncommon.
Okay.
Yeah. And I see Mystic Retrieval played, but I don't really see this card played.
Yeah, maybe the more restrictive mana cost.
There's that. I guess also like Mystic Retrieval for both triggers lets you do an instant or sorcery. Pull from the Deep is 1 instant and then 1 sorcery.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think it's more of a build around.
Yeah.
Pull from the Deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not much more, but more, I would say. All right, the next blue card is Parallel Thoughts. It's 3 and 2 blue for an enchantment. When Parallel Thoughts comes into play, search your library for 7 cards, remove them from the game in a face-down pile, and shuffle that pile. Then shuffle your library. If you would draw a card, you may instead put the top card of the pile you removed into your hand. So this is like a really roundabout blue tutoring system.
Yeah.
And if you can keep Parallel Thoughts on the board, then, you know, you probably tutored for the cards that are going to win you the game.
Which is pretty good.
And you may only need to keep it on the board for 1 turn, because if you have a efficient card draw engine, you can draw all those cards in 1 turn.
Yeah.
Because it just says if you would draw a card.
You can instead put 1 there in your hand.
Yeah. I really like this card a lot. And
Yeah.
I almost never see it played.
I almost never see it played either, and I think people are probably scared of
it getting removed.
Yeah, because then those cards are just gone.
Yeah, and I think that like uncertainty is your opponent's uncertainty of what you tutored for. I think it's less common that it will get removed based on that than a card that is a clear threat. Like I keep thinking of Paradox Engine, but that's not a card that's like Paradox Engine, but not that.
I think you could also kind of do some pretty cool things with this, because you can this is a really cool fake out card too. Maybe not put all your eggs in one basket.
You just do 7 lands, thin out your deck.
There you go, right? And then they remove it, and you're like, ha, gotcha.
You flip them over.
But also, don't take all your cards that you want to win the game with with this card unless you have a way to draw them, just in case that person has enchantment removal. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
a Crow's End Grip.
Yeah, because that suck.
That's not a budget card, by the way, people. It's almost a budget card. It's not a budget card for this episode.
Okay,
but as far as Eric and I are concerned, it's a budget card. Yes. Eric's squinching his nose.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're moving on to black.
All right.
Black is back.
Baby.
Yeah.
So Diabolic Tutor is 2 of anything and 2 black for a sorcery. search your library for a card and put that card in your hand, then shuffle your library.
It's a poor man's demonic tutor.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this card's great.
Yeah.
It's
Awesome.
standard black tutor. You can get anything. Don't have to reveal it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good card.
Yeah. I also like the art from the Kaladesh block. Because it's
Where it's Lily whispering to Chandra's ear.
Yeah, I like that one.
I really do like any depiction of anyone whispering into anyone's ear.
Sure.
So
yeah.
like this is good too.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not crazy about the original art. It would be better if someone was whispering into that person's ear.
Okay.
The next black card is Dothy Embrace. It's 2 and a black for an enchantment. You can pay 2 black. Target creature gains shadow until end of turn. So this is great in your like Skithrix decks. And if you have enough black mana, and black is known for being able to get tons and tons of black mana, it is 2 black mana : target creature gains shadow until end of turn. So you could potentially make your entire board essentially unblockable.
Yeah.
With this card and just take out one player, maybe even win the game. Depends what the life totals are and the power of your creatures. But
also, this is a nice political card because it just says target creature.
Yes,
so you can give other people's creatures shadow and get in more damage from them.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, very good card.
Next up, we got Read the Bones, which is 2 of anything in a black. For a sorcery, scry 2, then draw 2 cards. You lose 2 life. This is just solid card draw for black. You can potentially go 4 cards deep.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The next black card is Siphon Mind. It's 3 and a black for a sorcery. Each other player discards a card. You draw a card for each card discarded this way. So this is like 4 mana, draw 3 cards.
Yeah.
And everyone else, it doesn't like you anymore.
Yeah, because you made them discard a card.
Yeah, making people discard cards it makes them real sour. But 4 mana to draw 3 cards in black is, it's good. It's like par for the course.
Yeah, that's good value.
Yeah.
Don't do it when people don't have cards.
No, because you can't get the
you
card
only draw when they discard.
When they discard.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so next up we have Sadistic Sacrament. It's 3 black for a sorcery. The sorcery also has kicker 7. So, without the kicker, search target player's library for up to 3 cards, exile them, then that player shuffles his or her library. If Sadistic Sacrament was kicked, instead, search that player's library for up to 15 cards, exile them, then that player shuffles his or her library.
Man, if you know like the deck they're playing and what cards are essential to their win condition, you should just like take it out. I've played this card and they're just like they see the cards that you exiled, they're just like, I'm fucked.
Yeah. This is a fun card.
This is a really fun card.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it's still a budget card. I guess it's the 10 mana cost.
It's the 10 mana cost and also like the knowledge you need.
Yeah, but a lot of times if you like see, even in the wild, if you see a player's commander and you you have knowledge of the format, then you can be like, okay, they're playing like I don't know.
Paradox Engine.
Yeah, it's like that's one less card you have to exile. Yeah. I'm sorry I keep bringing it up. It's just like what's Paradox level powerful,
Yeah.
You know? It's like
yeah, say if I was like playing against you with your Memnarch deck, I'd probably want to get rid of all of your mana combos and stuff.
Palinchron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just get out of here.
Yeah, I love this card. Even if you're just getting the 3 cards, it's still worth
it. Can still like hinder somebody a lot.
3 for 3 is still good.
Yeah. And it also gives you information of like what that player's deck is.
Oh yeah.
Because you get to look through it, so
that's very powerful.
Yeah.
The next black card is Plague Wind. It's 7 and 2 black for a sorcery. Destroy all creatures you don't control. They can't be regenerated. So there's a card that's the exact same mana cost called Ingarrick's Wake. It's also a sorcery. It's destroy all creatures and planeswalkers you don't control. It doesn't have the clause about can't be regenerated. So, I would say Ingarrick's Wake is probably better.
I would say so too.
Because regeneration, usually isn't a factor in Commander.
Yeah.
It's relatively rare.
And you're hitting Planeswalkers too, which people like to play.
Yeah, especially after War of the Spark.
Yeah.
But, any one-sided board wipe, even though this costs 9 mana, is still very powerful. Because Decree of Pain costs, I think, 8 mana, and you draw a card off of each creature that's destroyed this way. So, more expensive board wipes do give you a little bit of extra value.
Yeah, that's a nice part about these black board wipes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great card.
All right, next up we have Wit's End. 5 of anything and 2 black. For a sorcery, target player discards his or her hand. Rude.
You made an enemy.
Yeah.
You made an enemy today, sir.
This one's definitely worse than other. Like, it is 7 mana, but I think you're going to make more of an enemy than if you were to, like, Curse of Exhaustion somebody or something. Because this gets rid of their whole hand.
Because with Curse of Exhaustion, they're still like, okay, I can play this card my next turn, and then after that I can play this card the following turn, and the turn after that I'll play this card. With
and they
this,
still get to draw.
They're just like, they get to draw. They got other cards, but with this is just like, it's so. There's something about discarding. I think it's in the same arena as when people take control of your permanents, and I was talking about this to somebody at the LGS the other night, and he was playing a Kaiga deck. So when Kaiga dies, he takes control of a creature, and he was doing all these things to like make copies of Kaiga, and as soon as the copy came into play, the copy would die because it's a legendary on the same battlefield, and then he would take creatures, and like,
I like that.
and he got targeted first and killed. And I was trying to explain to him that it's not at that when you're playing a strategy like that where you're taking other people's permanents, it's not a threat assessment thing. It is an irrational fear and disdain for somebody having control of what belongs to you. You would rather have your creatures in the graveyard or in exile than someone else controlling them.
Yeah, because like that's tons of value for them.
Yeah.
I played this creature and now you just took it.
Yeah, I would, but it's also, I think it goes like beyond them getting the value from it. I think it's about like, this is mine, and and if I can't have it, nobody can.
Yeah.
So, that's why I sort of converted my Memnarch deck to an infinite mana combo deck, where when I get infinite, I don't play Memnarch until I get infinite mana, and then I play Memnarch, and then I take everything, and then the game is over. I'm trying to mitigate the bad feelings there. But when you're playing a game and you're slowly taking things throughout the course of the game, I think that's when people are going to be like, oh, you have to die now.
Yeah.
Because I don't like how this feels. You're not even the biggest threat. You just have to die so that we can play a game where
if I play my permanents, they're mine.
They're my permanents.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that is really good to keep in mind when it comes to that kind of a strategy where you're taking people's things, because it's totally irrational, and I totally admit that, but it's still
a fact.
It's still a reality of the situation.
Yeah.
So just take the Memnarch strategy. Just wait. Just
all
wait.
At once.
Take everything at once, and then they'll just concede.
Yeah.
But yes, Wit's End, great budget card, and you can just, I see this card and I think about someone who's like, they're playing their deck where they just like drew their whole deck or something. And I mean, if you drew your whole deck, you probably shouldn't. Don't pass the turn. You probably should win.
Yeah.
But it's just like, maybe you just drew a lot of cards and you didn't win the game, but you are in a position to win the game. You just Wit's End them, and that feels so good.
Discard that 30 card hand. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move on to red. And the first red card is Aether Flash. It's 2 and 2 red for an enchantment. Whenever a creature comes into play, Aether Flash deals 2 damage to it.
Cool.
So just deal with tokens.
Yeah.
There's a lot of 2 toughness creatures in the format that would just immediately die to this.
Yeah, because a lot of people play mana ramp creatures that
Yeah, Mana Dorks totally deals with that.
drawing cards and stuff like that. All those like little tech creatures always have low toughness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a great card.
Also combos with Polyraptor.
That's right.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, up next we got Wild Ricochet for 2 of anything and 2 red. You may, for an instant, you may choose new targets for a target instant or sorcery spell. Then copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. So not only are you changing the targets of the first spell, you get to do it again.
I always think of, I don't know, I guess I'm just an optimist. I always think of extra turn spells when I see copy a spell. It's just like it's like word association for me.
Yeah. Copy spell, extra turn.
Extra turn spell.
Also works like really good with card draw and stuff too, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Somebody like Blue Sun Zenith, you know, like X10. You're like, I'll draw 20 cards, please.
Yeah, hopefully one of them's a reliquary tower.
Yeah. Yeah, I love cards that like shift targets.
And red, like this is red's only recourse. Is, you know, like red can't counter spells,
but it can change targets.
But it can change targets.
Yeah.
You know, because it's chaotic like that.
Yeah.
Okay, this next card is one of my favorites. It's Mana Geyser. It's 3 and 2 red for a sorcery. Add red to your mana pool for each tapped land your opponents control. So in a game of Commander, a lot of times this can net you 10 plus mana.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very great card. And if you use Pyromancer's Goggles to cast it, you get double.
Oh boy. I like that card a lot too.
Pyromancer's Goggles?
No, the Mana Geyser.
Mana Geyser. Yeah, really underplayed card, super cheap. Like this is just a great card in red. Like this can shoot you forward so much if you can utilize the mana.
Oh yeah. And like people tap out so often in Commander.
Oh yeah, especially in the first 5 turns.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and if you have 3 opponents with 5 lands,
it's 15 mana.
Yeah, so you're netting 10 mana.
Yeah.
That's great. On turn 5?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Shoot your head. Next up is Humble Defector, 1 of anything in red. Creature human rogue for 2/1. You tap him to draw 2 cards, and then target opponent gains control of Humble Defector. Activate this ability only during your turn.
This is a great card draw engine in red, but it's also a great, like, hey, you want to be friends card? Yeah. It's a great make
I draw
friends
2,
card.
you draw 2.
Yeah,
you know?
and just give it back to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other 2 players are like, we have to kill them.
Yeah. And you're kind of creating like a 2-headed giant situation.
Yeah, which is always fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a fantastic card.
Love it.
Okay, we're moving on to green. The first card is Acidic Slime. It's 3 and 2 green for a creature ooze 2/2. It has Death Touch, and when Acidic Slime enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact, enchantment, or land.
So many options.
And there's so many problem lands.
Oh yeah,
in
Gaia's
Commander.
Cradle.
Gaia's Cradle, like what's the poor man's Gaia's Cradle? Cradle of the Sun, Itlamok.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, there's so many powerful lands that need to be dealt with, but you know, even after that, whether you choose artifact, enchantment, or land, you still have a 2/2 with Death Touch on the battlefield.
Pretty much a removal spell too. Like people won't want to attack into you.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a great card, and it's been reprinted into Oblivion.
So nice and cheap. Next up, we got is it Time Spiral?
Original Planar Chaos.
Planar Chaos. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in Planar Chaos, we saw colors kind of get abilities they usually didn't get.
Yeah, it was like color shifted.
Yeah. So Harmonize is 2 of anything and 2 green for a sorcery that just says draw 3 cards.
Which is Ingenuity, I think, is the blue version of this.
Yes.
So. Or this is the blue version of that.
This is the green version of that.
Of
Ingenuity. Yeah, super good.
Yeah, just a great. I run this in a lot of green decks because sometimes you just need to draw 3 cards.
Oh yeah,
you know, and then you lose the game.
And we're talking about budget, but it has such a sweet full art.
Oh yeah,
It's got a textless promo.
yeah, it
It's
does.
nice. Yeah.
So the next green card is Jol Rael, Empress of Beasts. It's 3 and 2 green for a legendary creature, human spell shaper. For a 3/3, you can pay 2 and a green to tap, discard 2 cards. Until end of turn, all lands target player controls are 3/3 green creatures that are still lands. I need no army. I have Jamura. I don't know why I said it like that.
What is? Isn't not Famura?
No,
It's
I can't.
Jamura?
It's too far away for me to read
Tamura?
it accurately.
I don't know what that is.
Well, either way, you ruined it because no one knows about this card.
That's fun ability.
Yeah, you do have to pitch 2 cards, which isn't fun.
Yeah.
But I love this card because in mono, if you're playing mono green, you don't have a lot of ways to protect your massive board of creatures, which is how you're winning in mono green. You know, you have heroic intervention, but with this card, if someone's like, hey, I'm going to cast a Wrath, you're like, hey, I have Empress of Beasts. If you cast a Wrath, I'm going to turn all your lands into creatures, and it's going to be bad for you.
Yep.
So it's just a great threaten
protection.
effect. Yeah, I just love this card for that reason, and I run it generally in decks where I'm drawing a lot of cards. Like I run it in my Arcades deck, just because it's so satisfying when you turn your opponent's lands into creatures and they all get destroyed. And alternatively, you can just turn all your lands into creatures and swing for lethal.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, it's very versatile, this card.
I also like it for the protection aspect though, because then people pretty much aren't going to wrath the board because then they can't do anything anymore.
Yeah.
So this card, they need to find single target removal to get it off the board.
Yeah. Yeah, great card. Great.
Next up, Regrowth. One of anything in 1 green for a sorcery. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand.
Yeah, it just got reprinted in Modern Horizons.
Yeah, so really great card because we can't play any. It's just a singleton format, so we can't play any card again.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
This like Eternal Witness.
Yeah.
Gitaxian Probe puts it on. No, not Gitaxian Probe. The green one.
Phyrexian Rebirth.
Noxious Revival.
Noxious Revival.
Yeah, it puts it on top of your library, so not as good. There is like a Rebirth, which also puts it on top of your library, not as good. So yeah, this is just a really good card that, you know, it's sorcery speed, but who cares because it's just
also
going
like,
right into your hand.
Yeah, and it's kind of like cast any card in your graveyard for 2 more mana.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's the best way to think about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't get hung up on that. This is like, it's not a trade. It's part of the cost.
Yeah.
The next green card is Sylvan Scrying. It's 1 green for a sorcery. Search your library for a land card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. So obviously this card is very popular in Mono Green Tron in Modern.
Mm-hmm.
But in Commander, we have so many powerful lands, and even though this card doesn't put it onto the battlefield, we can find that tech land that we need to just, you know, we can find that Guy's Cradle, we can find that Sarah's Sanctum, and just get it out there and sort of propel us to a victory.
Someone's, you know, Memnarch or that Kaga deck, get that Homeward Path.
Oh yeah, Homeward Path.
Yeah.
Yeah, or you just need a strip mine.
Yeah.
Right? You got to take out a land.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, just a great card. Any card that's like search for target land card, search for a land card, give it a second look.
Yeah, it's real powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we have the Ulvenwald Tracker for 1 green. It's a creature human shaman for a 1/1. It is a 1/1.
Correct.
You can pay 1 of anything in a green to tap it. Target creature you control fights another target creature. So this is really cool, like repeatable removal pretty much.
Which is something that green has trouble with, removing target creature, because this kind of says destroy target creature.
Yeah, pretty much, because you're going to have a bigger creature probably, because you're in green.
Let's hope so.
Hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't target Ulvenwald Tracker.
It's a bad. Bad choice.
It's a 1/1.
Yeah. The other neat thing is like if you have like the acidic slime or something,
Oh yeah, you
they
just
fight. So
take out a big Eldrazi Titan.
yeah.
No, they have Death Touch. Well, not the new ones. Sorry, Indestructible.
Indestructible. Yeah.
Yeah. The new ones don't have Indestructible.
Yeah.
So it works. The next green card is Wave of Vitriol. It's 5 and 2 green for a sorcery. Each player sacrifices all artifacts, enchantments, and non-basic lands he or she controls. For each land sacrificed this way, its controller may search his or her library for a basic land card and put it onto the battlefield tapped. Then each player who searched his or her library this way shuffles it. You know, with how they changed, with how they took like add blue, they took like 2-year mana pool off of cards recently.
Yeah.
I think they can probably take off and shuffles your library. You know,
Yeah.
it's like we don't need that. I'm just kidding. I mean, I don't even. Yeah,
Shuffle your deck.
Shuffle your deck after. People wouldn't though. Yeah, this is just a great board wipe for green. It deals with artifacts, enchantments, and non-basic lands.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, if you're playing against 2, 3, 4 color decks, they won't have enough basic lands to replace the non-basics that you've just destroyed.
You're probably going to pretty much like Armageddon them.
And it's sacrifice too.
Yeah.
So it gets around Indestructible.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a really good card.
It's a really sweet card.
And it's like 35 cents.
Pick one up.
It's really good.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, moving on to gold cards.
Yeah, out of the Wooburg into the gold.
That's another good t-shirt. Yeah. We have to stop. We should just point at each other when we have a good t-shirt idea and not say it before we make t-shirts.
Yeah. All right, so the first gold card is Perplex. It's one of anything, a blue and a black. For an instant, counter target spell unless its controller discards his or her hand.
People don't want to unless you pay a cost. People are sometimes willing to pay the cost, but discard your hand.
No. And then this also has transmute for one of anything, a blue and a black. So discard this card, search your library for a card with the same converted mana cost as this card, reveal it and put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. And
I have transmute as a sorcery, but transmute is always 3 mana, and like the mana cost itself is different. Like sometimes it'll be 1 and 2 blue or what have you, but it's always 3 mana. And I think transmute is really undervalued and underplayed ability.
Yeah,
because it lets you, like, transmute is a really budget tutor effect.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be a lot more concise in how you build your deck, because
that's the same value.
That's be the same converted mana cost, but it's just a very powerful effect.
Yeah.
But that's just the icing on the cake for this card, because no one's going to want to discard their hand.
No way.
Unless they have no cards in hand.
That's the only time.
Oh, Frilled Mystic is another gold card.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I think we forgot to mention Harvest Season for green.
Oh, we did.
We did. So we're going to backtrack a little bit here, because Harvest Season is that important.
It's a good card.
It's amazing. Harvest Season is 2 and a green for a sorcery. Search your library for up to X basic land cards, where X is the number of tapped creatures you control, and put those cards onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. This is great in, like, if you have a bunch of mana dorks. I run this in my Edric deck. It's fantastic.
It's such a good ramp card.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But going back to gold cards, our other gold card is Frilled Mystic. It's 2 green and 2 blue for a 3/2 Mystic Snake. No, I'm kidding. Well, kind of. It has flash, and when Frilled Mystic enters the battlefield, you may counter target spell. Yeah,
just a 4-cost counter spell, but you get a creature out of it. So
yeah, you get a 3/2.
Yeah,
and you can also, it has flash, so you could cast it and block. But generally, you're not going to be doing that. You're going to be you're going to be using it for the counter spell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to move on to colorless cards and out of the color pie. And we're going to start with artifacts. So this is a whole cycle of artifacts. It's the Locket cycle from is this?
It's from the whole new Ravnica block, because 5 of them are in
Oh, they did
guilds.
5 and 5.
Yeah, they did 5 and 5.
Okay. Yeah, so, we have like Boros, Dimir, Azorius, Gruul, Rakdos, Simic, Golgari, Izzet, Selesnya, and did I miss a couple? I feel like I did. The lockets. And they all tap for
They cost 3 to play.
Yeah. Yeah, they cost 3 to play. They tap for one of either guild color, and you can pay 4 hybrid mana to tap sacrifice, draw 2 cards.
I think this is a decent card.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Because we have the Commander Sphere, you can sacrifice and draw a card, and then we have like Mind Stone, but I think if it wasn't hybrid mana, if it was like 2 and 2, they'd be significantly worse.
Significantly worse, yeah.
But because it's the hybrid mana, it really makes a big difference when like late game you just want to draw 2 cards, or you don't need the mana, so the end step before you turn you draw the cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just really good because like it can ramp you early and then you just get rid of it for more cards later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The locket cycle's good.
Yeah, they're very efficient.
Yeah. Super.
I like them a lot.
Yeah.
The next artifact we're going to talk about is Door to Nothingness. It's 5 mana for an artifact. Door to Nothingness enters the battlefield tapped. You can pay 2 white, 2 blue, 2 black, 2 red, and 2 green to tap, sacrifice Door to Nothingness. Target player loses the game. They're done.
Get out of here. Only a madman could create such a door. Only an imbecile would open it.
Nice. And the imbecile just lost the game. So this with like Ramos is really good, right? Because you just have this and that's good.
Yeah, you just need some graveyard recursion and
I love that cards. I love cards that say like win or lose the game on them.
They're good.
Yeah, so like this card, like a 5-color mana base is super expensive, but this card is not. And if you had a way to untap it and pay the mana in the same turn, you can just like one-shot people. You have to sacrifice it, but it doesn't go into exile, so you can just bring it back.
Exactly, yeah.
It's not a big deal.
And it's like also like there's other ways to get mana. Like getting a good 5-color mana base is expensive. You can still do 5 colors kind of on a budget.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's artifacts that tap for any color and stuff. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is just like a fun card. I've never like played with this card, but it's
fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Next up, we have Elixir of Immortality. It's just a 1-drop artifact. And then
nice. You could just stop there and I'd play it.
There you go. But paying 2 and tapping it, you gain 5 life. Shuffle Elixir of Immortality and your graveyard into their owner's library.
That's great because it shuffles itself in.
Yeah, so you can draw it again and use it.
That's the best part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like, there's a lot of strategies where or if the game goes late and you just need to shuffle your library back into your graveyard into your library.
Yeah.
And just keep drawing cards. So I think
some good answers that have been like in your graveyard now, you can just get them back into your deck. Yeah. Good card.
Definitely. This next card is very much in the same vein. It's Feldon's Cane for 1 mana artifact. Tap, remove Feldon's Cane from the game. Shuffle your graveyard into your library.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, I sort of I think when I got into Commander, I played a mill deck, so I would utilize these cards a lot because I would end up milling myself a lot, and I would just need to keep my deck going while other players hadn't built these contingencies into their deck. So cards like this can be very good for that.
These cards are also good for graveyard decks because they're kind of insurance for your graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody tries to exile your graveyard, you
can
activate this and put your graveyard in your library.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Next up, we have
The obelisk cycle.
it's the cycle. So all of these are part of like the 3-color.
From Shards of Lara.
Yeah, there we go. And so,
It's
for example, there's like the obelisk of Bant, Bant being green, white, and blue. So you tap the obelisk for one of those colors.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 10 in total.
Well, no, there's only 5 because we have the obelisk cycle, and then in Tarkir they did the banner cycle.
Oh,
which
right.
is the other 5.
Yes, there's the obelisks are the. What are the obelisks? We have
Naya.
Bant,
Yeah,
Naya.
Bant. Naya is green, red, and white. Then Esper is white, blue, and black. Jund is black, green, and red. Grixis is blue, black, and red. And then the banners are... Well, the banners are a little bit different. They still cost 3 mana. They tap for, like, Abzan banner taps for white, black, and green. But all the banners, you can pay their banner colors, so one of each. So for Abzan banner, it's white, black, and green. To tap, sacrifice Abzan banner, draw a card. So after that, we have Jeskai banner. It's blue, red, and white. You can pay that to also draw a card. Mardu is red, white, and black. Same thing. Tap it for any of those colors, and you can also pay all 3 to draw a card. Then we have Sultai banner. Black, green, and blue. Same thing. Pay that to draw a card. And Temur banner, which is green, blue, and red.
It's kind of funny how I always find like Temur is like the color one, because white and black are the ones that are missing. And out of all of these banners, this is the most drab looking
In the art.
in terms of the art.
Oh, because black and white aren't colors,
Yeah.
right? You're one of those.
Sure.
It just seems like an arbitrary distinction because it's like all color, right?
What's all color?
Well, it's all color. Like everything
yeah.
that it's all,
But these colors are more colorful than white or black.
I mean, I guess. I mean, like white and black are still colors. But yeah, fair enough. I see what
Yeah.
you're saying. It makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I think it has like the worst symbol. I think either Mardu or Jeskai has the best symbol.
I think so. Yeah.
I like that. I think Mardu. I think it's just like the wings is inspiring. I think wings in general are inspiring.
All right. Next up, we have another obelisk. It's unstable obelisk for 3. It's an artifact. You can tap it for a colorless mana. You can also pay 7 and tap it to sacrifice the obelisk to destroy target permanent.
So this is another one of those Magic likes to do. You pay 7. If you pay minimum of 7, you can destroy any permanent. It doesn't matter what color you're in.
Yeah. These are always nice. This one's more expensive than some of the other ones we've kind of touched on because you have to pay 3 to play it and then 7.
Right. If you wanted to do it all in the same turn.
10.
10 minutes.
But yeah, these are always nice for, like, for example, red. You got to get rid of an enchantment.
Mm-hmm.
Get this in there.
Yeah, you can't play Enchanter's Bane. That card sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to give your opponents the opportunity to choose which one of their permanents gets destroyed, and that's sort of what Enchanter's Bane did. That was one of those cards from Commander 19. I think that was in the Saheeli deck.
I think I took that out right away.
It's pretty awful. The next card is not an artifact. It's Scour from Existence. It's 7 mana for an instant. Exile target permanent.
Exile,
yeah. Just no questions asked.
I like this card.
Yeah, it's great.
Next up, we can talk about some lands. So first up, we got Tectonic Edge. Tectonic Edge is cool because it does just tap for a colorless. You can pay 1 and tap it to sack it and destroy target non-basic land. Activate this ability only if an opponent controls 4 or more lands. The kind of funny part about that, it says destroy target non-basic land and then activate this ability only if an opponent controls 4 more lands. So if an opponent of yours controls 4 more lands, you can still hit a land of somebody that does not control 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then really ruin their day.
Pretty much. Like, you only have 2 lands out there? Well, I'm getting rid of 1.
Sorry. Bozo over there has 5.
Yeah. I feel like being a real dick right now.
I just want to ruin your life. The next land is very similar. Encroaching Wastes. It taps for a colorless, or you can pay 4, sacrifice Encroaching Wastes, destroy target non-basic land. So, more restrictive in what it can target, but a lot of times you're going to be targeting non-basics.
Yeah, exactly. But as well, like, usually if you're getting, like, destroying a land, they're going to have more than 4.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. 4 mana is a lot to pay for that, so.
It is pretty satisfying, though, when you blow up somebody's land when they only have 1 because they blew up, like, your guy's cradle. And you're just, like, spiteful.
Super spiteful. You're not playing Magic for
You're just like, hey, shouldn't have kept a 1-land hand.
Yeah. You shouldn't keep a 1-land hand in Commander.
No, I totally agree. Well, that's pretty much going to do it for our budget cards and this episode.
Cool.
Yeah, we're going to wrap things up. And next week on the show, we're going to be doing a deck tech on one of the new legendary creatures from M20. I mean, they're not that new by this point, but they're new to us.
It's a newer one.
I don't know why I did that.
It's getting late.
It is. Yeah, it's not. It's we've been doing this later for sure. But if you'd like to get in touch with us, I mean, by now you know how to do it. I'll say it. It's turn1soaring@gmail.com. And on Instagram at turn1soaring _ the podcast. And you can follow me on Instagram at commandbeacon. So, give us a little feedback. Let us know what you think. We got thick skins. So,
yeah.
I mean, you probably just love the show. But if you have any complaints,
let us know.
Let us know. Truly. We're currently doing our July giveaway of 3 core 2020 packs. That's happening on our Instagram page. And you can enter that giveaway by finding the Instagram post for our set review for Core 2020, following the instructions on that post, and you'll be entered for a chance to win those packs. And we'll be announcing the winner of that giveaway on August 1st, at which point we'll be starting our August giveaway. But you know what? We're actually going to start our August giveaway a little bit early, which is today. And that giveaway is for every single card that we talked about in this episode.
Cool.
Yes.
Getting the selection of cards we actually talked about.
That's right. So I hope you like cards. And that's going to be... I think we'll just do that on Instagram again.
Yeah.
That's
a good way to do it.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that so far. So the winner of that giveaway will be announced on September 1st, and at which point we'll start our September giveaway. I like doing like monthly giveaways. And wherever you're listening to this, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, GooglePlay, SoundCloud. I keep meaning to get us on the other podcast platforms. I think that's something I'll do in the next few weeks. And yeah, just thank you all so much for listening. This is just a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks everyone for listening. I do enjoy doing this, and
I do enjoy doing. You're like a robot. I do enjoy doing this.
I do.
Stay tuned for the Instagram post for this giveaway, and we'll talk to you all next week.
And always remember, read that card.
That's right. All right, go get them, Tigers.
Turn one soul ring.